Hello, dear beloved tribe. I am so delighted to be here with you this evening. I am currently on the Gold Coast. I am going to be with my third level priestesses here on the Gold Coast this weekend for our final live training module. And often when in anticipation of these weekends, as the energy's building and I'm sort of preparing the space energetically, we're all gathering together from all the different places that we're arriving from, I get very inspired and very excited about getting to talk to you and come live and share with you what is kind of circulating in my consciousness. And this particular topic is also part of today being sacred service, which is a beautiful day in the group, and the posts that people have been sharing are just magnificent and blowing my mind, and there is so much power in this tribe, and I love seeing you all emerge and share what you have, and really just kind of blowing my minds with what is possible when we really let people see us and let people know what it is that we have to offer. So please keep those posts coming. You have until midnight Melbourne time to share all of that with us. And so I wanted to talk to you about a few things, and I do have a really big announcement about the third level as well, but I want to sort of talk to you about what it is that is at the heart and soul of everything that the Institute does, and everything that is at the center of my being, that is the foundation of my faith. And I love how these things get mirrored back to us. This evening I was buying all our beautiful raw vegan treats for our morning tea tomorrow, and the man that was selling them to us was you know, like Yoda basically, and he was just kind of blowing our minds with his wisdom. But he said something to me that is just so perfect, and it's really the heart of everything I want to share with you. He said to me, when I know that I am my castle, I am always safe. And I'm paraphrasing, but what I took away from that is what I want to talk about tonight, which is being beyond the trinkets and superstitions of the New Age. So I'm going to talk a little bit to that idea, and then I want to lead us into what does that look like in real life. So okay, these are really great ideas, but you know, everything that I do is not about just telling you how things are. I want to give you a living, breathing experience. And when we gather together, as we're doing this evening on this most holy Friday, we're gathering together on a Friday evening to make a choice to put down our fear. So you know, as everything, if you've ever listened to anything that I've said, everything I say again and again and again is that on the other side of fear is everything that you are, and everything that you are is God, or infinite unlimited consciousness. And so to know yourself as that castle that this man down at Pacific Fair was saying is to know yourself as unshakable, to know yourself as all-powerful, to know that your only safety, if we give up the idea of the human idea of safety, is to know that you are what you need, that everything is within, and it isn't about pursuing things outside of you in order to attain the magic bullet that's going to bring you closer to God or to your own unlimited nature. It isn't the easier path. The easier path is the idea that there's something out there that we can buy, or that we can drink, or that we can, you know, learn about, that's going to give us some kind of superpower. And you don't need a superpower, you already have one. Your spiritual superpower is your knowing, changing your mind about who and what you are, to know yourself as God. And you know, that is my mission, is to help you change your mind about yourself, so that you may perceive you as I perceive you, as God perceives you, which is infinite and unlimited. And when we know that is true, everything that is outside of us is an illusion. We no longer are thinking in terms of separation. We're no longer looking and seeing anything outside of us. We're simply seeing reflections of ourselves, and everything therefore is serving our awakening. So we are unafraid, because everything that occurs is serving us. How could it be any other way? If I am able to overcome the first law, the law of mentalism states all is of the mind, if I can overcome the belief in separation, if I can line up with that truth that all is one, I begin to see with spiritual sight. And my priestesses are currently learning about this. Cultivating spiritual sight is putting down your personal agenda with God. So cultivating spiritual sight is putting down your perception of how things should look and handing your life over to the infinite and saying, use me. And as A Course in Miracles tells us, what God wants for us is our happiness. What God wants for us is what we want for ourselves. We've just got confused about what or how to get that. And when we correct our thinking, when we give up this belief in separation, when we come home to the truth that we are already that which we seek, we are able to perceive all of this reality or a dream, depending on which way you look at it, entirely differently. And I really want to sort of put that idea of beyond the trinkets and superstitions of the New Age in that context of overcoming the belief in separation, and all of the immutable laws that I speak about, that I talk about in Spiritually Fierce, back up that truth that when we stop looking outside of ourselves, we are no longer, we're no longer primed for disappointment. We're no longer primed for failure. When we stop looking outside of ourselves, we can meet our magnificence and our gloriousness. And it isn't going to necessarily happen all at once, but it's though layers are peeled back from your eyes and you can perceive yourself as God perceives you. And it's worth going on that path. It's worth not simply trying to keep finding an antidote to your discomfort or your symptoms. To sit with the discomfort and to know that you are God and to know that everything is serving you is how we meet ourselves as God. And of course, the only way to do that is to meet your fear every single time. Every time it rises, we must meet our fear and be willing and unafraid to see it as a friendly ally. And we do that not because we don't think that things are out of accord. Of course, we know that fear rises when things are not working as we would like them to work. But we're not afraid of that. We simply recognize that as a friendly ally, a messenger, course correcting us, attempting to bring us back home to the truth of what we are. So if we saw fear for what it truly is, which is firstly a friendly ally, and then secondly at the deeper level, fear is not real. Nothing unreal exists. Nothing real can be threatened. Herein lies the peace of God. This is the opening to A Course in Miracles, and we must be willing. We must be willing to see fear as an illusion and to see through fear to truth if we are really desiring to move beyond the trinkets and superstitions of the New Age. It's not necessarily going to be immediately obvious how to do that, because you are primed physiologically, mentally, emotionally to be addicted to the feeling state of fear. So it requires a scaffolding, it requires a rehabilitation program, but it is worth it. It's the actual and only reason that we need to show up to our spirituality, because you are already divine, unlimited, magnificent, glorious grace. You are already God. And the only thing preventing you knowing that is the illusion of fear. So when my priestesses come into the temple with me, I don't have to teach them how to be spiritual masters and spiritual leaders and intuition experts and all of the things that you learn, contemporary priestesses. I simply have to get them to change their mind about themselves. And our entire year together is a rehabilitation program so that they may meet themselves as the goddess that they are. And I think every one of them who's listening right now would agree with that's really what this is. It's a spiritual rehabilitation program which is designed simply to peel back the layers of illusion so that you may know your truth, you may know who and what you are. And that is the only job, that's the only purpose, the only thing you need to do to show up to your spiritual path is to be willing to meet your fear. A lot of us will believe that it's about a particular dogma or a belief system or learning to meditate for 18 hours a day or doing yoga or whatever it is that you have previously associated with spirituality. And what I hope is becoming clear every time you listen to me, and if you are, training with me, is that there is nothing you need to do except for meet the illusion with as much courage as you possibly can. And meeting that illusion means meeting fear so that you may be revealed to yourself. And that is what spiritual seeking is. It isn't about attaining something outside of you, because there is nothing outside of you. God is in everything I see because God is in my mind. And so when I'm asking you to overcome the belief in separation and to see only God in everything, I'm asking you to see yourself in everything and everyone. Every single person who frustrates you, every single person that you love, every single person that you hate, every single situation in your life that is doing your head in, meet it with the understanding that it is you serving your own awakening. So you are entirely self-contained because you are the infinite. And I wish there was a way that these words could convey that feeling, and I will keep saying them until I feel like I find a way that will crack open your perception of yourself. And really, you know, a year is just the beginning, and the third level priestesses who are in the final stages of their training with me now will know that for many of them, now is just the beginning of them being able to even hear that, and it takes that chipping away until one day it doesn't. One day you just wake up and there's another level of truth attained, and it wasn't because of the accumulated time. Time and space don't exist. Time and space have nothing to do with miracles. It's because of your willingness. It's because of your consistency. It's because of your faith. Faith is active. Belief is flimsy. Faith is active. And I am asking you tonight to put your faith in yourself. And I'm asking you to be willing to meet yourself as God. And I'm letting you know that you don't need to know anything more. You simply need to put down the fear illusion, the fear story, and to see yourself as I see you, as God sees you. So on that note, I would like us to have an experience of putting down the fear to meet ourselves as God, because of course I can talk about this forever, but once you experience it, even if it is for a second, even if for a moment, the veil is lifted and you see through form to formlessness, you will be utterly convinced of what I'm saying. And you will keep going in that direction, even if it's years between those experiences. Eventually that experience will become your constant companion, your constant state of being, because that is your birthright. When we wake up, when we awaken to what we are, when we awaken, we give up fear, but we do not give up anything else. It is simply illusion that falls away. So the experience that I would like us to have together tonight is a version of the micro method, and we're going to do it as a group. So I will guide us through that, and I will intuit the fear, and I'm going to go in and feel the energy of the group and note what that fear is. Now, of course, I invite you, of course, because you have the power to identify if there is a particular fear that is rising up for you, or a fear that you just carry around like an old handbag all day, every day, and rather than taking the time to sit down and have a meeting with that fear, you just keep carrying the fear because it's easier than putting it down and saying, actually, do I really want to carry that bag anymore? It's burdening me. I don't really need it. So instead of becoming habituated to fear, if we investigate every tiny little niggling thing that is not serving us, that is taking away us from our knowing of bliss and peace, which is our true state, then if we investigate every tiny fear, the big fears never have to happen. The big fears never have to happen. The reason we have big, like, crash into a wall kind of life events is because we have not met those little fears. So the fear gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and like a tsunami, it takes over our life. What if we could prevent that from happening by being unafraid of meeting the little fears, no matter how small those fears are? What if we could be willing to say, actually, this isn't bliss, this isn't peace, I don't feel like I'm completely vibing with the highest possible vibration today, and I'm going to make a better choice. I'm going to take 5 minutes out of my day right now, and I'm going to go and investigate that friendly ally that is fear, knowing that fear is an illusion. So really, I'm just sitting down with an illusion. How can that threaten me? It really can't. And I'm going to get some good information. I'm going to find out what's actually going on here, because I know that that thing that's niggling and annoying me is actually not real. And I'm going to meet it then with a kind of graciousness, a kind of ease, and a kind of harmony that already precipitates my success at being able to release this fear. Okay. Oh, I just saw my mum is on the call, which is so sweet because she's upstairs here in the house. We're having a big sleepover party on the Gold Coast, and my mum and my sister and Katie Cruz are upstairs right now. Jade and Gabrielle were just here before. They've gone back to their accommodation, which is 5 minutes down the road. Amy's going to be joining us tomorrow night. We've got Christy coming in. Christy, of her amazing talent. If you haven't seen her I Am Children's Oracle cards, please have a look in Sacred Service today. They're so freaking beautiful. I actually have 5 packets sitting in my cart. I just have to find my credit card so I can pay for them. I'm going to give them to everybody I know, and I'm going to keep some for me because I don't see why the kids should have all the fun, really. And we have Rachel coming in tomorrow. We've got Cassie coming in tomorrow. We're going to have a truly remarkable weekend, but I don't want us to be the only ones. Let's all go on this journey together. So what I want you to do, and I'm just wondering if I should make my big announcement now or wait till the end. Let's wait till we're fearless. We're going to go in, we'll meet our fear, we'll clear our fear, and then I'll let you know about the big, beautiful, juicy announcement for the upcoming intake of the 3rd level. Yes, I've got Katie upstairs, so I can give her a big hug if you like, if you love her, if she's one of your people. Okay, so if you haven't done the micro method with me before, do not worry. I'm going to guide us through it, and I'm going to tune into what feels like the dominant fear for the group, for all of us who are here. But I invite you now just to take a moment by placing your left hand over your heart, closing down your eyes, and noticing, perhaps for the first time today, taking a fully conscious breath, and noticing if there is anything physically, emotionally, or spiritually that does not feel 100% blissful, joyful, and of God consciousness. Perhaps you've just been carrying around a little spike of jealousy sitting in your heart since this afternoon when you checked Facebook and someone that you're a bit jelly of had this amazing offer in the group and you're like, oh my God. Or maybe it was, you know, your partner leaving for work this morning without giving you a hug. Or maybe it was your feeling that you didn't pack as good a lunch for your kids as you could have, and maybe people are going to judge you. Maybe it's because, you know, your partner is dying. Maybe it's because you feel despair in your heart. It doesn't matter how big or how small. It might be that you've got a headache that you've had for 3 days and nothing will move. It doesn't matter if it's physical, emotional, or spiritual. It might be a feeling of like, oh my God, I'm never going to find my purpose. And I've just gone from one thing to another and I cannot find my way home. And I'm worried that my life will pass me by. And I feel so much yearning to be of service. That one's coming up for someone. So whatever is sitting there, just hanging about you that you have been ignoring all day, perhaps creating emotional chaos, perhaps eating all the chocolate, perhaps getting drunk, perhaps eating too much food, perhaps, you know, not eating enough food. Whatever it is that you've been using to prevent yourself from meeting this feeling of discomfort, it doesn't even have to be a big fear yet. It's just a feeling of, this is not of God. This is not high vibing stuff, okay? And so just go in for a moment and notice that fear, that little niggling fear, whatever it is, or it might be a big, massive fear. And I want you to, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most intense, rate that fear. It might just be, you know, a background noise that you haven't been paying attention to, but now you're giving it some time, you're giving it some light, you're giving it some space, and you notice, actually, this is like carrying a gorilla around. I've been carrying a gorilla around and pretending this is normal. I'm going to give that a 10. Or it might be like, I just have this feeling in my gut, like something's not quite right, and I feel anxious and stressed. And I haven't noticed that all day because I have not given myself the time and space to actually commune with myself. And when you've tuned in, just give yourself that number. Very good. Good work. Now taking a deep breath in and letting it go out through the mouth with an audible sigh. And if you're not doing so already, just placing 2 fingers at the center of your chest. And feeling yourself shift from your cranial brain into your heart's intelligence, your intuitive intelligence, just by inhaling and exhaling with full consciousness. And you're going to ask yourself now, silently or out loud, what's underneath that fear? What's deeper than that fear? And let the answer come to you in whatever way it will, whatever your way of hearing, feeling, seeing, or knowing your intuition is. And know that intuition is always instant. And trust what you hear. And I'm just going to tune in and see what the dominant fear for us as a collective, what would be most useful. Okay, fear of rejection. And fear of rejection is a primal fear that sits in the lower three chakras, the survival chakras of all humanity. And that fear of rejection is fear of rejection by God, fear of humiliation by God, that we fear that we have left God and therefore God will reject us as we try to make our way home. As A Course in Miracles tells us, of course, we never went anywhere. We're just sleeping in God's arms and God's waiting for us to wake up. But that fear of rejection will inform so much of every part of our life. The prevention of being rejected, to reject first, to not be safe, to feel loved, to never try in case it doesn't work, or to constantly cause chaos so that you ensure that you're rejected, to make other people impossible to spend time with you or be around you because your insecurity and self-doubt is just absolutely like a cancer that consumes everything and takes up all the oxygen in the room. Whatever way your fear of rejection manifests, we're going to work collectively on that one, as well as whatever you have identified, the deeper fear, the deeper layer of fear underneath the superficial stress, anxiety, frustration. Beautiful. Now staying with me here, keeping your eyes closed if you're safe to do so, taking another fully conscious breath, exhaling out through the mouth with an audible sigh. Oh, letting go of all the effort that's brought you to this moment in your day. And now, I want you to turn your mind to images that evoke strong feelings of gratitude, joy, freedom. As far as possible, I want you to find one single image. It might be the perfect cup of coffee, a smile from a beautiful stranger, just being here together tonight. A hammock between two palm trees. Whatever that mental image is for you that will easily and joyfully activate that feeling of gratitude. Nothing that will complicate you or take you away from present time. And you're going to build that feeling now in your body, emanating from your heart. And I want you to see it as though it's a spring, like a beginning of a babbling brook at your heart. And with every thought, every feeling of gratitude, that spring bursts forth even more till it becomes a stream, and then a river, a whole ocean of high vibrational feeling state emanating from within your sacred heart. It's pouring forth from within you, and it's filling every cell of your body, and it's moving out through your physical form, through your subtle anatomy, and it's filling up the entire space. And that feeling, that gratitude grows and grows with every breath. That tiny well, that spring at your heart, just pouring forth, unlimited, high vibrational feeling state. And it fills you up, and it overfills, and it fills the room, and it fills the entire building, and then it just keeps pouring out of you, and it's unlimited because it is the portal, the gateway to the infinite. And feel that grace moving through you as you out into the environment around you. Keep bringing that mind home to this image that evokes these strong feelings. And now, lowering your hand to your lap, take a deep breath in and let it go. And feel that expanded, open heart exponentially increased as we gather together. Everyone who is here now live and those who will watch back later, beyond the bounds of time and space which are an illusion, we are united as one heart. And the power of that united vibration ripples out into the field and is carried around the globe and benefits all in ways that we cannot even begin to understand. And now, before you open your eyes, I want you to look around for that number, that feeling that you rated on the scale of 1 to 10, and when you find it, see what the number is now. Our great hope is that this work that we have done together for ourselves and one another will have brought that number down. And if you like, you're very welcome to share with us if you've had a shift, if anything's gone on for you where you began. And my experience of using this practice is that it can induce miracles, that our willingness to sit with our fear will shift things that seemed previously unmovable. And of course, all that has really happened is a shift in our perception of what and who we are, and a return to our infinite nature. That for me was quite spectacular, that feeling of grace moving through all of us. And I would love to hear for anyone who would like to share if they experienced a shift. 10 to 1. I am God, says Rachel. Yes, you are, blessed sister, and such a perfect precursor for our work together this weekend. You don't want to be bringing any 10s into this space, although you're very welcome to. We will transmute them. That's magnificent. 9 to 1, Gita, beautiful, beautiful, magnificent. You are so powerful. Massive shift, says Teresa, after being too afraid to take a risk today and being disappointed, but now you forgive yourself, and that is the miracle. That shift out of judgment into judgmentlessness is the miracle. So beautiful, Teresa. Thank you for sharing that. Oh, I love hearing these stories. So if anyone wants to keep sharing, please do, because of course this is so exciting to see. And if your number hasn't shifted, don't be afraid of that either. You simply find the time and space to go in again, or if the number hasn't gone down as much as you would like, go back into that state. If this is new to you, if this way of working with energy and consciousness engineering is new to you, then be aware that it's like developing a muscle. And the more frequently you do it, the more capable you are of seeing these really magnificent shifts. 10 to 4, that's amazing. Major headache, but feels so much better. Awesome. Physical symptoms can be a real sucker to try and move, but that's such a powerful shift. And of course, the physical symptom is just showing up for whatever else is underneath that, and that giving it conscious time, giving it space, bringing it from the darkness into the light is the beginning of our return to our true nature. So beyond trinkets and superstitions of the new age is your power. And your power is all that is required, and it is shifting your perception about what you are that is a true spiritual practice. And I invite you to keep changing your mind about what you are. 8 to 6, a great reminder to me how deep I've let this fear set in. Beautiful work, Kelly. That's, that shift is so significant, especially if it feels entrenched and like you've been carrying it around like that yucky handbag for such a long time. And remember that you go back in, you can go back in up to 2 more times and evoke those feelings in whatever way works for you. What we can do if we're finding ourselves getting too much in our cranial brain and holding on to kind of memories that are not serving us is find a piece of music that is so freaking joyful to you that you cannot but shift and dance and bring your body into this. And another beautiful thing you can do, of course, is work with the pranayama, work with the breath as you do that bringing or evoking that image of something that brings great feelings of gratitude. And remember not to overcomplicate it, especially if the fear feels really sticky. Martina says from 8 to 1, daughter enjoys the shift as we're all loving again. Let's hope she shifted her flu. Yes, well, everything in its right time. Once things have come into the body, they take a little bit longer to move, but that's just because they're the physical realm is the densest and slowest moving part of us. But our capacity to shift is no less powerful. The miracle has no order of difficulty to it. So, my beloveds, I am so honored that you have joined me tonight. And what I would love to do now is just make this big, gorgeous, juicy announcement about the 3rd level. So if you don't know, the 3rd level is my year-long training in effectively getting fearless, so that you may take up your place as a spiritual leader, a contemporary priestess, and as just an absolute intuitive master. And that doesn't require you learning about any trinkets or superstitions. It requires you to be willing to meet your fear again and again and again until you are just holding such a high vibration that simply being in your presence is the miracle to those who you serve. And that is what we are all capable of, but it takes commitment. And the women who are in this program now are blowing my mind with their commitment, their willingness to meet their fear. And it's not all like picnics and sunshine. And the reason that we have a year, and the reason that you have a sisterhood, and the reason that you have me is because actually this is a rehabilitation program from the belief that you are small and finite and limited. So the interviews are now open for the July 2018 intake, and this does include a week-long retreat in Mama Bali in Ubud, which is a truly magnificent opportunity to literally change your brain. We know that going on spiritual retreat causes all sorts of fantastic shifts neurologically as well as emotionally and spiritually. And that's a very, very fun, beautiful part of the program. What is happening for the first time ever with this current intake is that I am offering a scholarship. So for those people, those women, it's only for women who do not have the financial means to meet the full investment in the training, we will be launching next week applications for a financial scholarship of $2,000 towards the overall investment. So that's $2,000 off the full investment, and there will be all the terms and and conditions and how you can submit an application to this scholarship being announced next week. But I just wanted to flag that for you because I know there's probably women who are yearning to do this, and the Institute is committed to inclusion and accessibility for all. And so what we've done is basically taken off the cost of delivering the retreat, really, and delivering all of that beautiful juiciness to bring the cost hopefully back to a level for someone who may have counted themselves out and is now really, you know, able to consider this as a viable option. So it is a scholarship that is available to those who for financial reasons could not attend, but we are very excited to make this something that is possible for people who for reasons that are potentially outside of their control could not necessarily think about doing this training. So I will give you all of the details on how you can apply in the coming week. We'll have all of the terms and conditions. We'll make it really very clear to you and make it as you know, as easy as possible for you. You don't have to prove your financial status, but you do have to prove your willingness to enter this program with 100% commitment. And so if you are interested in applying for the scholarship, the first thing to do is book an interview with me, and you can do that by going to the website instituteforintuitiveintelligence.com, going to the third level training. You'll find the link to book your interview in, because, and I might share this here as well, if you have any idea that you'd like to apply for the scholarship, you have to have already done the entrance interview or be booked in for that, because of course entrance into this program is by interview, because we need to know that you're ready. And that doesn't mean that you have done all the spiritual stuff before, not at all, but you're ready and willing to meet and release your fear and to go on an accelerated spiritual awakening so that you can serve at the highest possible level. And really you need to know that's what you want, because that's what happens. I can pretty much guarantee all of my third level priestesses who are listening tonight will say, yes, it is an accelerated awakening process, and you better just strap in, because if you're not ready for that, then it can feel a little bit overwhelming. And even when it does feel overwhelming, it's okay, because we've got each other. So if you have any questions about the third level, drop them into the comments here. Please book an interview if this feels like your soul's calling, because you will not be disappointed, but you will be if you don't book an interview. There's only a limited number of places in this intake, and I would love for anyone who's feeling that call to make sure that they've booked a time to have an interview with me. And scholarship details, that $2,000 scholarship to reduce the overall investment, all the details will be announced next week. Mwah. Have the most beautiful night, and thank you for going on that journey for me. And remember, if your number hasn't come down as far as you would like, simply go back into that high vibrational feeling state. Keep it as simple as possible, and knowing that your vibration, that frequency, is your protection, and that gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership. So that is the place you want to be living from, and it takes consistent practice. You have to keep showing up. Mwah. So much love to you, my darlings. Bye.